The weight of the world rested on Amaka Eze's young shoulders. As an orphan, her life had been a constant struggle, but her greatest challenge was now her beloved Papa Namdi. His kind eyes, once full of stories and laughter, were now clouded with pain. The doctor's words echoed in her mind. Urgent surgery, a phrase that carried a price tag far beyond her reach. Every day, she watched a little more of her grandfather fade away, and a cold desperation began to grip her heart. With nowhere else to turn, she swallowed her pride and approached the only family she had left, her estranged mother, Ngozi, and her half-sister, Uju. She found them in their lavish home, a world away from her own humble existence. They listened to her desperate plea, their faces masks of feigned sympathy. Then, Ngozi made her offer, a cruel bargain that felt like a slap in the face. They would give her the money for Papa Namdi's surgery, but on one condition: she had to marry a man named Tunde Adewale. Uju snickered, adding venom to her mother's words. He's just an ex-convict, Amaka. A dangerous one. But it's a small price to pay for dear Papa's life, isn't it? The choice was no choice at all. It was a sacrifice. For her grandfather, she would walk into the lion's den. On the day she met Tunde, Amaka's hands trembled. Whispers had painted him as a monster, a brute forged in the fires of prison. She expected a man with cold, hard eyes and a sneer. But the man who stood before her was different. He was tall and powerfully built, yes, but his gaze was steady and calm. There was a quiet intensity about him, not a threat of violence. He didn't try to intimidate her. Instead, he spoke with a startling honesty. "They told you I'm a criminal," he said, his voice a low rumble. "The truth is, I went to prison for defending a young girl from her attackers. I couldn't stand by and do nothing." In that moment, a tiny crack appeared in the wall of fear Amaka had built around her heart. Their wedding was a rushed, impersonal affair, devoid of joy or celebration. It was a transaction, a contract signed in desperation. That night, as Amaka entered their new home, her fear returned, sharp and suffocating. This was it. She was now the wife of a man society had labeled dangerous. But as she stood frozen in the bedroom, Tunde simply placed a blanket and pillow on the couch. "You take the bed," he said gently. "I wouldn't want you to be uncomfortable." His simple act of kindness was so unexpected it brought tears to her eyes. He wasn't the monster she'd been promised. Slowly, cautiously, Amaka began to see the real man behind the terrifying rumors. Days turned into weeks, and a fragile trust began to form between them. Then came the invitation, a formal dinner with the Adewales, Tunde's family. Amaka knew this was a test. Dressed in a simple but elegant gown Tunde had bought for her, she walked into a mansion that dripped with wealth and power. The air was thick with judgment. Tunde's relatives circled her like sharks, their questions sharp, their compliments laced with condescension. They tried to humiliate her, to expose her as a gold-digging nobody. But Amaka met their cruelty with quiet dignity and unwavering integrity. She spoke of her love for Papa Namdi, her voice clear and strong. She didn't flinch, she didn't crumble. Across the room, she saw a flicker of respect in the eyes of Tunde's formidable father. She had not only survived the ordeal, she had, unknowingly, impressed the one man whose opinion mattered most. But while Amaka was facing the lions, the snakes were plotting in the shadows. Ngozi and Uju saw the marriage not as a sacrifice, but as a golden ticket into Lagos high society. Their plan was as cunning as it was cruel. Under the guise of helping with finances, Ngozi visited Papa Namdi. She cooed and sympathized, placing a stack of papers in front of him. "Just a formality for the hospital, Papa," she lied, guiding his frail hand to sign. He trusted her. He signed away the deed to his home, the only home Amaka had ever known, believing he was securing his own medical care. Ngozi immediately used the funds to throw an extravagant party, a garish display of her newfound status. When Amaka discovered the betrayal, a cold fury unlike anything she had ever felt surged through her. But she wasn't alone anymore. Tunde stood by her side, his calm demeanor now a source of immense strength. "We will not let them get away with this," he promised. Together, they formulated a plan. They crashed Ngozi's opulent party, the music screeching to a halt as they entered. In front of the city's elite, the very people Ngozi so desperately wanted to impress, Amaka laid out the truth. She held up the fraudulent documents, her voice ringing with righteous anger. Tunde stood beside her, a silent, powerful guardian. The public humiliation was devastating. Ngozi and Uju, exposed as frauds and manipulators, fled the party in disgrace, their social climbing dreams shattered into a million pieces. Humiliated and enraged, Ngozi decided to destroy the one person who had helped Amaka expose her, Tunde. She concocted her most vicious lie yet. She doctored photos, creating a false narrative of abuse, and leaked them online. The images spread like wildfire, painting Tunde as the monster everyone had always believed him to be. Ex-convict abuses his innocent wife, the headline screamed. Ngozi called the police, her voice dripping with fake tears, demanding Tunde's arrest. It was the perfect trap. His violent reputation would seal his fate. But they underestimated Amaka. And they underestimated Tunde. As the police arrived, Amaka stood firm. "It's all a lie," she declared. Tunde, cool under pressure, simply made a phone call. Minutes later, his lawyer arrived with irrefutable proof. Security footage from a hotel lobby, timestamped from the exact moment the abuse was supposed to have happened. The video showed Tunde and Amaka laughing together, sharing a quiet, happy moment. The police looked from the fake photos to the real video, the truth laid bare. The tables turned instantly. Ngozi's web of lies collapsed around her. She was arrested on the spot, charged with fraud, blackmail, and elder abuse. As she was led away in handcuffs, she saw Amaka and Tunde standing together, united and unbreakable. In the aftermath, Tunde's father, who had witnessed everything, finally saw his son's true character. He saw his honor, his loyalty, and the strength he drew from Amaka. He reinstated Tunde to his rightful place in the family empire, not as an outcast, but as a respected leader. And in the greatest miracle of all, Papa Namdi's surgery was a success. He made a full recovery, his eyes once again sparkling with life. The house of cards built on lies had fallen, and in its place stood something real and beautiful. The fake marriage, born of desperation and deceit, had blossomed into a genuine and profound love. Amaka looked at her husband, the man the world had called dangerous, and saw only kindness, strength, and devotion. She had been forced to marry an ex-convict, but she had found her soulmate. They had faced down the world together and won, proving that sometimes the heart of a lion beats inside the kindest of men. Thank you so much for watching our story unfold. If you were moved by Amaka and Tunde's journey, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.